evergreen. So.
Have a seat. Congratulations on your engagement.
Thank you.
How long's it been?
5 months, yeah.
Let's just clarify. How old are you guys?
I'm 23.
Okay.
And I'm 22.
You're very young to be taking such a huge step.
We are. We're very young. And a lot of people have said we're very young and...
Interesting.
It's interesting. When it's meant, it's meant. I feel like you know when you know.
Yeah.
People say that, but is it true? What was the courting like?
It was a few months, like I would say 3-4 months of courting, just hanging out with each other, really getting to know each other, finding out our interests.
We really had an opportunity to get into each other's spaces. We were supposed to live separately, but my job at the time was much closer to Tobias's residence versus where I was going to stay.
You moved in really fast, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Are you worried about that?
Not at all. It was actually a very seamless experience living with her.
I'm not gonna say that everything has just been peaches and creams, but I can say that we had the opportunity to really get to the nitty-gritty of things that happened in our childhood, why we act the way we act, why we talk the way that we talk.
One of the things I like to kind of explore is your childhood. Can you say a little bit more about that?
I grew up in a split, basically, a single
joint
mother.
custody?
Yes, ma'am. Experiencing that disappointment of your parents not always being able to be there and me having so many siblings.
How many brothers and sisters do you have?
9, I believe.
Wow. I can imagine that there wasn't a lot of space to get a need met.
Yeah.
Do you think somehow that getting married is a reaction to that?
No, because I got in my head early, yes, I want life to be better. At that point, it was becoming the woman that Kiva wanted to become.
You talk about yourself in the third person. That's unusual.
She does it quite often.
She does?
Yeah.
I started to refer to myself in third person once I figured out what I wanted, and it was because of the expectations I felt like I had to carry when I was younger.
Right. So you mean you had an idea of what you thought your life should be, and you're watching to make sure that Kiva achieves those things and does that stuff. Let's just say it's a very strong awareness of being looked at or evaluated.
Yeah, in a way, I guess. So, yeah.
And I know you had a period of taking care of your grandmother.
I did.
How old were you then?
11 to 13, I believe.
And how did that come to happen?
Once I found out that she had cancer, I wanted to be there. I wanted to go with her to her chemo sessions and
That's a lot of responsibility for a little kid.
It is.
My late great-grandmother, she was a rock for me, and it felt good to matter so much to someone that I didn't have to explain how to be loved.
Well, first thing is put God center, because God is not there. I don't care how rich you are. There's no relationship if you don't put God in the center to put that bond together. Yes, I'm concerned about financial stability too, but the world we live in today, that stability don't come easily.
Thank you. Mama, what's your concerns?
My concerns are, first and foremost, put God first as the center of your relationship. Secondly, if you have not already had a major fight, I would encourage you to have a major fight.
Yes. That's what I'm looking for.
Mama?
Well, my concern is for you to not just make decisions upon just yourselves, but to make those decisions together as becoming one. And just the one other thing, just the Kiva just continue to control your temper.
Hello.
Hello.
We'll be doing budget breakdowns. I'll be up here writing down my monthly income, the monthly expenses, and then wedding expenses.
I'll have the walnut from that.
The walnut? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right. All in all, the expenses are not bad. We moved back in with my parents to actually save and put towards the wedding and be able to pay for everything and still have a very solid savings.
Okay. What about extracurriculars?
Right now, we were really trying to focus on staying in and saving for the wedding, getting things paid down for the wedding.
God was always very important for me. In the Bible reading, God has a better future for me. His will be done, and his will for me will be a better life. And I believe that wholeheartedly. Another part of my upbringing, my parents were high school sweethearts that didn't make it. It kind of broke me in a way. I did have a temper because I was so emotional. Out of pain, hurt, and disappointment came anger. And sometimes I didn't have any other outlet to release those emotions.
Talking is the key to everything.
If Kiva shuts down emotionally, what actions will you take to get a conversation going? Nowadays, it's not really hard. Like, when she gets upset, she'll take like 2-3 minutes and be like, okay, babe, this is what's wrong. And we go from there. Like, it's always very like easy conversation once we get past the initial emotion.
Have you and Tobias had a fight? God, I hate to call them fights. We had...
Misunderstanding, let's say.
Yes, a very big misunderstanding back in August. I feel like that was the roughest obstacle that we had to overcome. And instead of shutting down, we just listened and understood that it's literally us against the problem. And we would cry together, but we would also pray together. And that's why I say, like, that is my best friend.
I'm happy to hear that you've had a major fight and you have both been able to look at what can we do differently. Because if you don't have a fight, you don't know how you will respond if there's ever one.
During that time frame, all I really wanted was my mom and my dad. But no matter what, that was the time that I built my relationship with God. And if I wasn't there, I don't know how my relationship would be now. Because I had to lean on God when I felt like my parents sometimes didn't want me. I felt like I was too much. So I felt like my Nana was gonna accept me and my personality and who I was all in one. So it was kind of challenging, but I thank God for it. It made me who I am. And like, sorry. There were times where I just wanted to be held. I just wanted to hear you are enough. But yeah, there's that.
It's not like I just abandoned Kiva because she was still taken care of. There's no question about that, you know, so.
Never. I thought that you knew that I was living with Nana.
It was a communicational barrier on her father. You know, it was just maybe he didn't feel as though he had to tell me.
At 23, I'm not upset. I get it.
She still was in good hands. That's family.
Yeah. A lot of feelings that I felt as a kid just started to resurface. It's like, wow, that is a period of my life that I didn't talk about a lot. And I assumed that both of my parents were aware of where I am.
It's not like it was here, I'm just dropping you off. I'll come back for you when I feel like it.
Do you guys feel like I was a burden?
No, and you do have to understand, you were my first. I was still learning to be a parent. And you gotta remember, your grandparents were babies when they had me. My parents were my grandparents.
It's always been we were young parents, we didn't know any better. I feel like y'all never took accountability for how I was hurting, in a way still am. Leaving us with our grandparents and things of that nature, we want y'all. That like no one else can really substitute our parents. I want to go through what got me to Nana's house, or like the period where I went to go stay with Dad.
I black it out because it wasn't a good time in my life. Because I wanted to be a better mom, of course. I was living with a friend. I wasn't even staying with my mom because I was still trying to stay stable for me and my kids. So once that came about, that's why I decided that she's with her dad.
There were moments where I wanted you and Daddy to say, I want to spend time with you. I don't care if we were homeless and together, Mom. That would have been better than feeling the emptiness inside that I felt. I feel like the 12-year-old inside of me has been trying so hard for so long to just feel wanted and loved. And it wasn't until Tobias that I even got remotely half of what I felt like I deserved, to the point that sometimes I didn't even know how to accept the love because I didn't know it was genuine.
And I do apologize. And my mindset wasn't the same then. You know, I wish I would have known back then, you know, she do need to be with you more. I have been through hardships as being a single parent, but I'm wishing that I knew more and that I was able to actually give her that so that she didn't feel unwanted. And I apologize. I am sorry.
Together, I need us to To work past this generational curse?
Trust and believe, that's already in my mind. And that's another reason why I feel as though you haven't had kids yet. And it's for me to be able to stand beside you and Tobias. And I know it's mistakes that I made. I wish that I could have given you more, but I wasn't able to. And now it's just to work on still being a better mom to you for the future, period.
Yeah.
And I do that.
That feels good.
I am proud of you. And you've always been enough for me. Sorry I didn't know how to show it, but being a parent is a lifetime. It's not.
Absolutely.
And I am learning that.
I feel like us being able to build through this together it's very helpful. We're gonna be more fluent together. Give me a hug, mommy.
Yeah.
I know how you are with affection, but I'm gonna get all this loving I can. Seeing tears of a strong woman who doesn't cry that often is a powerful thing. Now I'm feeling we are on this track to better for her future grandkids, myself, my relationship. I'm feeling relief that that burden of the world that I always try to carry, it felt like it's finally sliding off of me.
So, Kiva,
Yes.
you had to sit down and talk to your mom.
Yes.
What happened in that conversation?
I would say it felt like we moved mountains with that conversation.
Really?
It
Great.
feels like we took a positive step forward. I was letting her know how like her actions and my dad's actions, it did impact me. She said sorry, and that sorry felt very powerful. It was relief. And then hearing my mom say like, I'm here. And understanding like she thought that not saying anything was gonna keep me going. And my mother is an extremely strong woman. I don't see her cry often. So seeing those tears come down her face and get a smile and the hug, that embrace that I got from her it's a different feeling.
This is what I'm gonna leave you with, Kiva.
Okay, yes.
So there's fight, flight, freeze, and fawn, right?
Okay.
Fawn is to manage,
Okay, got you.
Go, oh, it's okay, And I think part of what you've had to do with your mom is fawn. That's what she's required from you.
Right.
So when that happens, I'm gonna say, as a little child, you learned, oh, I gotta get mommy to come back. In fact, it was her responsibility to take care of you, and it is okay that you're holding her accountable. So in order to continue this growth, be aware of when you're doing that and to just pull back when you notice yourself doing that.
That makes a lot of sense. Like you said, it starts with that
Where
awareness.
you're gonna have to let them feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that's gonna make you feel uncomfortable.
I
But he'll be there for you when it comes time to feel uncomfortable.
Right.
You won't have to bear it alone.
Yeah. All right, family. So Jerry, do we have your blessing?
Initially, I did come with concerns. The first being with communicating about the past and past hurts. And you guys were too young to get married. But through this experience, I have learned that love looks different, even age-wise. As far as my blessing goes, you have it.
Thank you so much. Sierra.
I had a couple of concerns. Number one, making sure that you two had a unified understanding of what marriage looked like. And lastly, making sure that you guys walked into this world and into this marriage with financial stability. Being here has really showed me that you two truly do love each other. So I think that when it comes to my blessing, you definitely have it from me.
Thank you. All right, Mom, do we have your blessing?
Initially, my concerns for you all were Kiva's temper. But through the last couple of days, to know that Tobias has taken my baby's heart and just held on to it, and for her to have found love, it's wonderful. When it comes to my blessing, you all have my blessing.
Thank you. Thank you, Mom.